welcome into Cronkite Sports Live. The 6th floor studio is lively today. My name's Jacob Rudner. Alongside me, Emmie, Keenan. And Emmie, we have a packed show today.
It is.
NCAA news, college football, soccer, hockey, you name it, we've got it.
You're right. It's crazy. How are you? How are you to start off?
I'm amazing. I don't know if you can tell by the attitude, but it's a great day.
It's a good day.
I'm happy to be here.
It's a good day.
I'm also happy to just jump right into the show. We're going to get started right away.
Go for it.
When California passed the Fair Pay to Play Act, a bill that allowed students in the state of California to profit off their name, image, and likeness, it was the catalyst for many states to follow suit. On Tuesday, the precedent set by California pushed the NCAA to unanimously vote that student athletes can get paid due to the use of their name, image, and likeness. But what many do not know is former ASU and Nebraska quarterback Sam Keller filed a lawsuit over a decade ago against the NCAA and EA Sports for his using his likeness in a video game. That lawsuit went on for years and ultimately came back in his favor. The $20 million settlement, which went out to many players, ultimately spelled the end of the NCAA football video game and was the first step in a movement currently taking shape. The NCAA says each of their 3 divisions must create a new set of rules on this no later than January of 2021.
While some say change is inevitable and others may say it can complicate things, a few ASU coaches spoke about the NCAA's new rule.
And this is a subject that's been in the air for a long time. I think once it gets settled to what they want to do, then I can comment on it. It evolves, man. We evolve as a society. It's part of it. And if you don't do that, then you're hurting the game.
I feel like that law is going to service less than 1% of college student athletes that are really going to get paid for their likeness and image and autograph and things like that. And it's a very slippery slope, and some very intended or unintended consequences definitely could be that money that people would normally give to a college athletic department, they're giving directly to those superstar athletes.
After opening the season with a 5-1 record, the ASU football team has scuffled as of late, losing each of their last 2 contests. First, a 21-3 loss to then number 13 Utah, then another defeat at the hands of the Bruins in UCLA. Our Tyler Mannion has more on how the game unfolded from the Rose Bowl.
Well, the Sun Devils traveled to Southern California to take on the Bruins. To get to the game, they had to leave the campus of UCLA and go another 26 miles to Pasadena in order to play at one of the most historic stadiums in college football.
Welcome to the world-famous Rose Bowl, the home of UCLA football. Today's game features the Bruins and the Arizona State Sun Devils.
After the worst loss of the Herm Edwards era last weekend in Utah, the Devils came onto the field Saturday looking to bounce back in a big way.
ASU! ASU! ASU!
But ASU fans wouldn't be cheering for long. The first drive of the game saw an Eno Benjamin fumble turn into 7 points for the Bruins, and the home team would not look back. The lead would get to 32 points in the third quarter, and Edwards had no explanation for his squad's performance on the night.
To play a game like that, since I've been here, I've never been involved in that. I don't know what that is. I can't explain it. I wish I could tell you what it is. I don't know. I have no idea. It looked like a different football team out there. So
we couldn't get 3rd and 1. And I'm just going to make that my mission in life the next week and study that and try to understand that. But you got to get freaking 1 yard in football to win a football game. I mean, it's 1 freaking yard.
The Devils will have an extra week to figure out what to change as they go into the bye before playing USC at home on November 9th. Reporting from the Rose Bowl, Tyler Mannion, Cronkite Sports.
Within their last 2 games, ASU has been penalized nearly 20 times for close to 200 yards. Head coach Herm Edwards spoke about their mindset and how that may affect their playing.
And then all of a sudden this emotion started rearing its head for some reason, and that's not good. I don't believe in that. I just believe in, you can be passionate, but you can't play emotional, because when you do that, you make errors. And then that's what's kind of caught me a little bit by surprise. Hopefully that doesn't rear its head anymore. You can't have fouls. I mean, last game, we got off to a very silly.
The veins of the ASU football recruiting program have run through California, filled with tons of talent born in the state. ASU went back to UCLA this past weekend, and the result was not so good. Our Jack Lauderay has more on how the homecoming for many of ASU's players may not have been such a good thing.
Sun Devils walked out of the tunnel onto Speaker Field at the Rose Bowl. For most players, it was just a regular game. But for a select few, there was more. Returning home to Southern California was a huge storyline for the Devils, with players such as Merlin Robertson, Kobe Williams, and Jaden Daniels all from the area. But while some homecomings are sweet, for Herm Edwards, this one had a little bit of concern.
I'll talk to him about it. I mean, anytime you go to LA, you're going to have to talk to half our football team, right? Not just him. There's a bunch of them, right? And kind of like the SC game last year, you know, guys, and they got a lot of, tell them right now, get this ticket thing done. But I just want them to get all the ticket stuff and all the family stuff, you know, and get that out of the way. And then when you go down there, go play. And yeah, they're going to be excited. And you can't stop it. You can't tell them, well, you shouldn't be excited. Sure, they're going to be excited.
And those concerns would come to light for the Sun Devils with lack of composure and many costly penalties, resulting in a 42-32 defeat to UCLA. Coach Edwards' concerns were echoed by defensive coordinator Danny Gonzalez after the defeat.
Penalty markers on the field.
I think there were some distractions that we didn't handle well, that we can structure better on each side of the ball with what we're dealing with those guys. And I think when it's attention to detail in everything you do. And when those little things get away, that affects how physical you're going to play. This is a mean, nasty game, and if you don't get yourself mentally ready, it shows up.
Homecomings can be distracting, and for the Devils in Pasadena, it showed. Reporting in Pasadena, Jack Lauderay, Cronkite Sports.
Well, if you want more of Jack Lauderay's content, make sure you head on over to cronkitesports.com. From the gridiron to the ice, we head on over to ASU men's hockey program. They get ready for a 2-game set against the Quinnipiac Bobcats, the very team that knocked them out of the NCAA tournament just a year ago. And to discuss the team, we bring in WCSN hockey expert Hunter Hipple. Hunter, welcome to the show. My first question for you has a lot to do with that team that was last year. The Bobcats beat the Sun Devils in the NCAA tournament in 2018-19 season. What do they look like now?
You know, there are similarities and there's differences with this Quinnipiac Bobcats team. Most notably, they're missing goaltender Andrew Shortridge and forward Chase Prisky. These are two Hobie Baker nominees from last year, and Shortridge was a Mike Richard award nominee. So these are two really, really good players that Quinnipiac is missing. But at the same time, they brought back a lot of the same traits that they had last season. The defense is still really good. They're 14th in the country in shots allowed. And the goaltending, even without Shortridge, is really good. Keith Petruzzelli has been really, really good this year in the net.
Well, you mentioned a lot of talent. They did lose some, but the replacements have been just as good. With the team being so talented, what will ASU have to do this weekend to squeak out 1, maybe 2 wins?
If you look back to that April game in which ASU lost in the NCAA tournament, they really got dominated. Quinnipiac was faster, they were bigger, they were more physical, and it was really just a lack of skill for ASU in that April game. So looking forward to tonight and tomorrow night, the biggest thing that ASU is going to have to focus on is getting their forwards to really spark an offensive game for the Sun Devils, because when you have a lack of skill, you're going to have to beat these physical defensemen that Quinnipiac has. So you're going to need Johnny Walker, you're going to need Logan Genuine, you're going to need Demetrius Koumantzis to really get their sticks deep in the net and get the puck in the net for the Sun Devils.
Well, if you want more preview content on the Quinnipiac series, Hunter's got it. It's on the website. Go on over to cronkitesports.com. And for more of our reporting, we head on over into the studio. 3 reporters, 3-game win streak for ASU women's volleyball team. Here's what they had to say with 3 big takeaways from the 3-game wins.
ASU has improved their hitting percentage both individually and as a team. They are taking smarter swings and making better decisions on the offensive end, which is contributing to their ability to score and get kills. They have gotten creative using a combination of tips and roll shots to keep the defense guessing, along with getting all of their hitters involved throughout the games, allowing them to be successful and continue to win.
The Devils' modified 6-2 seems to be effective. Utilizing multiple setters will help ASU for several reasons. All 3 players in the front row are now hitters instead of having 1 setter and 2 hitters. This gives the Sun Devils a higher chance of putting up a strong block, especially on the outside. Instead of a setter blocking the opponent's strongest hitter, ASU will have at least 1 hitter go up against the other team's outside. Additionally, since hitters are seeing 2 different setters on the court, they're more likely to find a rhythm. The modified 6-2 will also throw off the opponent's defense. By switching up the setters, it challenges the defense to guess which ASU hitter the setter is going to go to.
Last year, Sonia Tomasevic's squad was 2-8 at home during Pac-12 play. At the time, Tomasevic told reporters she wasn't sure why the Sun Devils struggled so much at home. But this year, despite starting the season with 11 matches away from Tempe, the Sun Devils have protected their home court during conference play, already doubling their conference win total at home through their first 5 games at Desert Financial Arena.
ASU's women's basketball season is here, and in the studio to tell us more about the team, we bring in WCSN women's basketball analyst Gabby Ducharme. Gabby, welcome to the studio. Can you tell us a little bit about what ASU's basketball team lost in seniors coming into this season?
Well, you're talking about a team that really lost a lot. They had a lot of talent last season in Kiana Ibis and Courtney Ekmark, 2 seniors who they ended up losing. Kiana Ibis was one of the best power forwards the team had ever seen, and Courtney Ekmark was a transfer from UConn who brought along 2 national championships with her. So they lost a lot of experience. They lost a lot on the rebounding end and the shooting end. So making up for those 2 seniors, along with Ternay Johnson-Chapman, who they all lost to graduation, it's going to be a big test for the Sun Devils this coming season.
Well, you know what they say, out with the old, in with the new. They got rid of the seniors and they bring in the freshmen. What freshmen are expected to make an impact with this team?
Well, you're talking about 3 big names. You got Ebony Walker, Sarah Bichetti, and Sydney Caldwell. With these 3 freshmen, you've got a new forward coming in Ebony Walker, who will hopefully replace a lot of that experience that Kiana Ibis gave. And you're talking about Sydney Caldwell as well as Sarah Bichetti, 2 guards who are going to take over after Robbie Ryan and Riley Richardson graduate following this season. So a lot of talent on that end, players who had played internationally this summer, and also All-Americans, as well as a Las Vegas player of the Nevada Player of the Year. So a lot of talent with this freshman class.
Use that word talent quite a bit in there, and it makes me want to know, what are the expectations for this team in this season?
Well, you're talking about big expectations for a team that went to the Sweet 16 last season. Now, this team is expected to probably be in the top 20. They're ranked right now with 4 other Pac-12 schools ahead of them. But going into the NCAA tournament, going into Pac-12 play, you're looking at them probably finishing in the semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament and then finishing in either the round of 32 or the Sweet 16 this season.
Well, for more of Gabby's content, head on over to CronkiteSports.com. We're going to stay with the women's basketball program, but we're going to change analysts as Misa Jones has more on the Sun Devils' rankings with this week's impact.
The Associated Press released their preseason top 25 Monday, and 5 Pac-12 teams made the cut. The Oregon Ducks took the top spot overall, followed by Stanford, Oregon State, UCLA, and Arizona State. 4 Pac-12 players also made the Nancy Lieberman Award watch list, which recognizes the top point guards in college basketball. Those players are UCLA's Japreece Dean, Oregon State's Destiny Slocum, Utah's Drew Gilton, and Oregon's Sabrina Ionescu, who could become only the second 3-time Lieberman winner in history. As the season progresses, we'll see how the Sun Devils really stack up against some of the top teams and players in the nation right here in the Pac-12. Now we'll take a look back at ASU soccer's final home game of the season. Our Annalise Kofad has more.
In their last home game of the season, ASU celebrated Senior Day while taking on Oregon State. It was a close battle between the Devils and the Ducks, with the possession being even throughout the entirety of the game. Senior players Christina Edwards, Lorado Sargent, and Adriana Orozco came in and out, with senior Kylie Minifield sadly sidelined with an injury right before the game.
I was devastated for her, and I just gave her a big cuddle and said, her career's been fantastic over the last 5 years, and I couldn't be more proud of her.
The possession fight continued, Oregon eventually catching the Devils off guard, scoring the only goal of the game. ASU continued to fight back, but their luck hadn't seemed to improve from their last few games, with their closest attempt on goal bouncing off the post in the last minute. Oregon eventually prevailed, final score 1-0 Oregon. Though it seemed all was forgotten when it was smiles all around in the post-game ceremony for the seniors celebrating their last game on ASU soil.
The seniors have been an amazing group of young ladies. I mean, they're good soccer players, but they're absolutely incredible people. They mean the world to us. We were just disappointed that we couldn't send them off today with a victory.
The coaches have been really supportive and informative with me and helping me on and off the field, like be an impactful player.
A disappointing homestand for the Devils, but nevertheless, the team seems hopeful going forward. The Devils will take their next 3 games on the road and will face Stanford this Thursday. Reporting from Tempe, Annalise Kofod, Cronkite Sports.
From Devils playing their last home game to some who don't wear the maroon and gold anymore, ASU golf alumni were announced as the highest earning group on the PGA Tour for the 3rd straight year. Guys like John Rahm and Paul Casey led the former Devils to a total winnings of more than $17 million. That's $3 million more than the next highest group. The current ASU men's golf team will hope to mimic this success as they continue with their season into 2020.
The University of Arizona announced Monday it's changing its abbreviation from UA to U-Arizona. The purpose of the change was to increase search engine optimization because the university was not appearing on the front pages of Google. The result, when people typed in UofA, was it would help. The hope was that the result would change what people would see when they searched the name. It would distinguish the school from other national and international entities that used UofA. That included University of Alabama, Under Armour, and United Airlines. The new name is already reflected in the university's Twitter handle @UArizona. And now it's time for my favorite segment on the show. It's time for The Way It Is. Emmie and I will ask each other a series of 3 questions. We're going to answer them to each other, and then the folks in the studio will pick who did it best. The winner gets their own monologue at the end of the show. Emmie will jump right in. We talked about it earlier in the show, but ASU football has really struggled lately at 5-3 overall. What do you think their record will be come the season's end?
I say they only lose 1 more, and that's going to be Oregon. I think the USC game is going to be pretty close, but overall, I'm going to say 8-4.
I think behind a healthy Keaton Slovis, then you got Oregon the week after that. ASU loses both of its next 2 games, finishes the season at 7-5.
All right. Men's and women's basketball are about to get started. Which one do you think will have a better start?
Well, we had some women's basketball talk on the show today, and I heard a lot of really promising things about them. So I have that. I've also been to ASU men's basketball practices, and they've looked pretty promising so far. But with a ranking in the AP Top 20, I gotta go with the women's team to have the better season.
I agree with you. Surprisingly, I agree with you. See, these women, they went to the Sweet 16. Charlie Turner Thorne, they're hungry. They're gonna go far. I think I'm going with the women's.
Well, November 1st, it is the day after Halloween, and I have a Halloween-related question for you.
Okay.
You stick your hand into a bowl of candy. What 3 pieces of candy are you hoping getting out?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Reese's, the cups, not the pieces. I'm gonna go, yes, Snickers and Twix.
Okay, those were 3 really good picks. I'm gonna take 2 of them and add 1 more. Number 1 is Twix, 2 Snickers, so we're the same there. Number 3, I'm tasting the rainbow. I'm going to go with Skittles at number 3.
You're losing. You're losing this one.
I don't know that I'm going to lose this one.
That's a loss.
When we
Skittles.
practiced the show, everybody seemed to be very interested in my Skittles pick. I'm also undefeated in The Way It Is.
Oh, okay. It is only 4 days until the start of Charlie Turner Thorne's 23rd season here in Tempe as head coach, with the AP Top 25 putting them at 20 and going all the way to the Sweet 16 last season. I'm making the bet that this team is on a mission. After losing key players like Ibis, Ekmark, I say that Charlie Turner Thorne could possibly take this team to the Elite 8 this season. Still early to say, but I think they're hungry for more, and that's the way it is.
Great reader, Emmie, and now it's time for top plays. It's the energy segment time. Here comes top play number 3. We head on over to Wells Fargo Arena, formerly Wells Fargo Arena, for a 45-second rally. Unbelievable. We had to speed it up because it took so long. This isn't normal. This doesn't happen in volleyball. 45 seconds long, and the best part of it for ASU, it finished like this. They got the point. 45 seconds and they scored. Unreal.
Number 2. Look at this, Frank Darby. You see Jaden Daniels throw that, it's gonna go 36 yards, and that helmet's gonna pop off right there, Jacob. You see that? Another angle, Daniels throwing it 36 yards, like I said, and bam, the helmet is off. Still caught it though.
The helmet was off, but the ball never came out. He held onto it. Here's play number 1. We go back to volleyball. Megan Beattie, unreal. Huge spike. She scores a point. And guess what, Emmie? You're not going to believe it. She does it again. Boom! She scores another point right there. Unbelievable. 2 spikes. Megan Beattie, unreal, getting the job done. And folks, now that's it. We've done the whole thing, the whole show. How do you? We've done the whole thing.
I feel good.
It's an unbelievable show. We had a good time. We hope you guys had a good time. And we hope that you come back next week. For everybody in the studio, for everybody in here, and for Emmie, Keenan, my name's Jacob Rudner, wishing you guys a great weekend, a great next week. We'll see you back here on next Friday.